Dr. Alexis Tibbets.
I am not Mr. Rodney Nobles, but I can tell you, if you think it is difficult to follow Cliff, who is a minister, I not only follow Cliff, but I follow both of the Gates men, and they are extremely articulate. It would seem like heresy to stand before you today and tell you that I am asking you to vote yes on Amendment 8. But the reason I am asking you to do that is because we must right-size class size for the best interest of students. For those of you that know me, you know I've committed my life to public education. You know that my husband is a strong military leader and commander, retired. You know that I'm a native of Okaloosa County, and I have nothing more at heart than the best interest of the children in this county. It's not a political issue, it's what's best for kids. This is a very quiet campaign. It's been a campaign that's been difficult because actually, when this was voted in, the entire economic world of Florida was different than it is today. And it was only voted in by 52% of the people, and now to get it out is going to require a 60% vote. One of the things as a former teacher I can tell you, and the research is very compelling, and you will not find one research-based study that tells you after 35 students in the classroom, you do lose student performance. But under that, there is no significant change to student performance based on the number of students in the classroom. What makes the difference is the teacher and the quality of the teacher standing in front of that classroom. And that is where Okaloosa County schools and all 67 districts in our state need to be able to put their dollars. And unfortunately, the cost of this amendment to you, to the taxpayers in Okaloosa County, and the state of Florida, and Okaloosa County didn't vote this in to start with. Y'all were smart then, and I know you're smart now, because you certainly haven't gotten dumber in the last 10 years. One of the things I expect, though, you to understand about this, and I'm going to try real hard to make this work now. Mr. Kelly, you told me you were going to come and work this for me if it wouldn't work, because it's not a punch button.
Wait at the back. Aim it that way.
Yeah.
Right up there. And then yell at Lee.
Okay, Lee, I'm just going to say next slide, please. So you go. This is what you currently see for the class size mandate. Lee, next slide, please. This is what we're asking. This amendment gives flexibility for a pre-K through 3rd grade class to have 18 to 21 students, a 4th through an 8th grade class to have 27 students, and a 9th through 12th grade class to have 30 students. Now, I taught many of you in this room. I taught many of your children. I taught many of your grandchildren. And I can tell you, the 20 years I spent in the classroom, I had 35, 37 kids, and that was in a chemistry class. That was pretty scary sometimes. But I can assure you, that was too many. We have had class size limits in our county for the last probably 15 or 20 years since I've been an administrator. And the decisions that administrators are making right now, because we do not have flexibility in those rules, and as a longtime principal of Fort Walton Beach High School and both Destin Middle School, I've been in small schools and large schools, you know that a master schedule cannot be built to accommodate 25, 22, or 18 kids exactly perfectly in every class, because you will eventually hurt your elective programs by bumping them up so high. You can't put 35 kids in an IT class if you only have 28 computers. You have to have some flexibility. And as someone who's traveled the nation with my children and many of you in a military community that's highly transient, can you imagine what happens right now this time of year when parents who are mobile are moving into our district and their children are having to be rezoned or go into different classrooms because of an amendment that was passed without really realizing the impact on it when you have to implement it. Another thing is you know, capital dollars are very limited. We're very concerned about where we're going to get dollars to renovate or build facilities to hold all of these classrooms that have to be done. Next slide, please. You need to know know that in the last, since this was passed, since 2001, we've spent $16 billion trying to accommodate class size. This county has spent $1.5 million since August trying to accommodate class size. Now, Mr. Gates was a great leader. When he was superintendent, he started moving toward this. 4 years ago, when I was elected superintendent, I started moving toward it. But at this point, we know that class size will cost us another $3.2 billion this year in the state of Florida. And Florida Tax Watch estimates it will cost $4 billion a year for the next decade. And what we are doing is we are gutting quality programs in our schools. You have seen me struggle to hold on to Embry-Riddle and many of the quality programs we have because we're having to hire so many teachers to accommodate these inflexible numbers. We're also letting our classroom assistants go, people who work one-on-one and one-on-3 and one-on-5 and one-on-8 with children who struggle, who need remediation. We're cutting some of our accelerated classes at a time that our nation needs more scientists and engineers than ever before. My husband spoke at something as an Air Force Academy grad for engineers just the other night, and y'all, we are churning kids out for math and science future careers, but we can't do that without putting the technology in their hands to get there. And that is what this amendment is costing us in terms of preparing children for the future. Next slide, please. I would like to, and I'm not going to be as passionate as Cliff, but I would like to say this. There is no magical formula for the number of students who should be in a class. It's like the golden mean that was handed down from Tallahassee or somewhere. We can't tell you what is exactly the right number because there's been so much research done in so many different ways, but believe me, the flexibility that this is going to give us is not going to hurt children. I got a robocall today. It's pretty interesting. It was from a lady that said she's the president of the PTA in the state of Florida, Karen Brown. I had to kind of take a step back from it a little bit because she said this. She said, if you vote yes on Amendment 8, it's going to increase your property tax, and it's going to take money out of the hands of children. And I thought, gosh, I wish I had this lady's number because she's feeling this is almost just the opposite. If you vote yes on Amendment 8, you will put resources back into the hands of your school principals in a site-based budgeted district that they can do things to help children and not have their hands tied through this mandate. I want to remind you that in May, federal stimulus dollars disappear. Our property values have declined. We haven't even felt the effects of the oil spill in this county. And we are only funded, we meaning the school system, with sales tax dollars, which are hurt by BP, and property tax. And we must make sure that we have the resources to keep our county strong and our kids strong. We don't want to disrupt class. We want to make sure that we maintain a school average, and you have my word, I will commit to you, that we will maintain the school average as is written in this amendment that was just read to you by Paul. And you have my commitment that we will not have classes go over these limits. If there was a lot of contention in this school district regarding this, there'd be someone here tonight from the teachers union, because you hear from them a lot, don't you? They're not here tonight because there's no one opposing this in Okaloosa County. We want to do what's right for kids, and we need you to vote yes so we can continue the quality education programs, the remedial classes, putting things in the hands of our students that they need. And it's going to take a lot of people. It's not going to be easy to get this passed, and we don't want to have to keep cutting our media specialists, our literacy coaches, and all the things that make us strong. I invite you to certainly call me, ask me if you're confused about this amendment at all. I appreciate Senator Gates, I appreciate Will Weatherford, I appreciate the people who stepped up to champion this, to take this kind of chokehold off of us that we have in public education right now. And I can assure you, and I want you to understand this, that I have nothing but the best interest of the kids in